the Denver Broncos. What are your, before we dive into the Broncos, what's your initial sentiment? This is a team that has a lot of question marks.
Yeah, that's pretty much my sentiment when we're going into the Broncos because I have no idea what to expect from this team. What I saw from Russell Wilson last year was one of probably the most precipitous drop of any Super Bowl quarterback ever. And like he was the one who was supposed to be the next Aaron Rodgers, the next Drew Brees. And if you want to emulate your career after those guys, you got to play past 33. And so far, he fell off a cliff. He's clearly was the problem in Seattle. And then even players like Mark Schlereth was like, actually, like we can blame the Seahawks offensive line, but Russell Wilson holds the ball way too long. He doesn't hit checkdowns. But I think someone like Sean Payton coming into the fold will be able to say, hey, Russ, I have the cachet. I'm the coach. I'm the one who runs the show here. You're the one who wanted to bring me to Seattle. So it's my way or the highway. You're going to have to live with that. And if the Broncos, what was the stat you showed me last year? If they just had a average offense, they would have made the playoffs.
If they had the 24th ranked offense, they would have made the playoffs. So it would have actually been the 1 seed.
Yeah, they would have been the 1 seed. But I also am very concerned about their wide receivers. But the running back situation, I feel like, is pretty solid.
Yeah. So without further ado, we'll dive into it. They start the season at home versus the Raiders.
At home versus the Raiders. I think this is a game where you come out and win. It's going to be Sean Payton's first game coaching coming out party. He's definitely going to want to get that first notch under his belt. And if you want to talk about a coaching mismatch, Sean Payton versus Josh McDaniel of the poorest franchise in the NFL right now until Tom Brady decides to step up to the plate as an owner. It's like, good God, no.
Speaking of poor franchise, stays at home versus the Commanders and Sam Howell.
You better win this game. This is one of those games where if you drop this game in week 2 with Sean Payton, this isn't one of those losses where it's like, oh, you just lost to a bad team. Like, no, you lost to the bad team. They got new owners this year. This is just a feel out year. Owners don't care what they win because if we suck, guess what? We get to pick our quarterback next year, which is probably what they want. They're all in on Caleb Williams. So yeah, you better beat them because they're going to be trying to lose.
And then week 3, they go first road game, 1:00 slate against Miami.
Against Miami, that's a loss. I think Miami's offense is a lot more high powered. Tua is still going to be healthy. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You have Jalen Ramsey, who's going to be able to lock up any poverty wide receiver that the Broncos roll out there right now. So, yeah, I feel like that's probably how it's going to go. And then have we fixed the offensive line yet? You did spend the most they were one of the highest spenders in free agency, and most of the focus was on the offensive line. So definitely think it'll be better this year, but I think this is a game Miami easily takes.
And then week 4, again, another road game against Chicago and Justin Fields.
Against Chicago and Justin Fields, I think your defense is good enough to win you this game. And then these are going to be the games where Sean Payton is going to be like, hey, don't do too much. You can take the check down because there are a lot of open receivers that Russ misses. That's going to be one of those wins that they're going to be able to take.
And then Sunday game again, goes back home to take on the Jets.
That's a loss. I think Aaron Rodgers will be able to outclass Russell Wilson. I think he has better weapons than Russell Wilson. I think his defense is on par with Russell Wilson. I think the Jets defense is going to be very underrated because they were an awesome defense last year, got better, added new pieces in the draft. Oh yeah, you also added Aaron Rodgers to pair with Garrett Wilson, who's like, yeah, he kind of reminds me of Devontae Adams. So I think the Jets will be really good.
Yeah, and then week 6, we had the Chiefs, and we already know where this is going.
Yeah, that's a loss. You're not going to beat the Chiefs.
And then then they stay at home to take on Jordan Love and the Packers.
They're at home in Denver. Yeah, that's a win. This is going to be one of the worst games of the year to watch. You know, one of those games you just turn on and it's just painful for no reason.
Yes, like every Broncos game last year.
But you know what's better than soccer? But it's just like, I love the NFL, but why am I watching Russell Wilson and Jordan Love fail every time to complete a 3rd and 3 on 3rd down? It's going to be one of those games.
Kind of reminds me of the 49ers and Broncos game last year.
Oh my God.
11 to 10. That was gross. Grossest game ever played. Week 8, they face the Chiefs again, and Patrick Mahomes is 12-0 against the Broncos. We know where this
Victorious.
goes.
Make it 14-0.
Yeah.
Make it 14.
And then week 9, there's a bye, so they'll win that game.
Got it.
And then week 10, going to Buffalo to take on Josh Allen on Monday Night Football.
On Monday Night Football? No, Josh Allen's is too good. Like, that's one of those games where it's like, yeah, you can get 24 points, but Josh Allen, I feel like it's going to be a humiliation thing if you lose to Russell Wilson at this point in his career for like that clique of like Russ, Burrow, Mahomes. I feel like for their ego's sake, they're like, there's no way I'm losing to Russ.
Fair.
No way.
Ooh, and they get an opportunity again to take on another competitor. Week 11, Sunday Night Football against Jerk Cousins.
Sunday Night Football. Yeah, you can't pick Kirk Cousins in primetime, unfortunately. Like, unless this is the year where he turns around that narrative. Like last year, he felt like he turned around, like, can't win a close game, can't be clutch. No clutch Kirk is what they were calling him, or what he thought they were calling him. Then he came up clutch in all those one possession games, which is all the games they won. But no, primetime, I don't think he'll shake that.
And then week 12, at home again against the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson.
I'll go with the Browns simply because the Browns have, I think their weapons will still be healthy at the end of the year. I feel like the Broncos, skill position wise, are very thin and they don't really have too many dynamic guys. Javonte Williams has been really good for them. But I think Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Njoku, that'll be enough to get it done for the Browns.
And then week 13, they go to Houston to take on the Texans.
To Houston to take on the Texans.
Week 13.
Yeah, I feel like this is the game where Sean Payton starts to lose his mind, because I wanted to pick the Broncos in this game, but I just have a feeling deep inside me that the Texans are going to go ahead and pull out the victory. And we're on the Texans train. I'm going to speak another win into existence for the Texans this year. Got the Texans taking down the Broncos, and now the wheels are starting to fall off.
Yeah, because at that point, they've lost 4 of the last 5, and then they go to SoFi to take on the Chargers.
Ooh, is this the first matchup with the Chargers?
Yes.
I'm going to have them losing this game to the Chargers. I'm going to have them beating the Chargers in Denver because they always give Herbert trouble, but be like, this time around, they're going to lose.
And then week 15, they take on the Detroit Lions.
Are you kidding me? The Lions are going to be undefeated this year. So obviously they can't lose to the Broncos.
With that logic, we also have the Patriots Sunday Night Football week 16.
That's a win for the Broncos. I'm sorry, but Mac Jones is still out there, and I think Russell Wilson can be at that level.
Week 17, they're at home against the Chargers. You said they were going to win that game.
Yep. I'll have that 2 wins.
Week 18 against the Raiders.
That's a win.
All right. So let's count this up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have them going 8 and 9.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If you can pick the Ravens to go 8 and 9, I can pick the Broncos to go 8 and 9. This is someone I have no feeling on the Broncos whatsoever. I took the tall task of, you got the Browns last week, I got the Broncos this week. These are probably 2 of the hardest records to pick in the NFL this year. So shout out to us for getting through both of those. And now